I was born in a little town in Sunflower County called Doddsville, Mississippi. And my family moved here to Pasadena, California in 1953. And so I've been here ever since. All of my schooling was here in Pasadena. I went to elementary school at Lincoln Elementary School, and I went to McKinley Junior High School, and I went to Pasadena High School where I graduated in 1966. And I am a proud product of Pasadena. I lived on the South End as they were, I guess, geographically known. It was a little different than what we have today. It was a lot of African American families living on the South End, and at the time Pasadena was geographically, I wouldn't want to say segregated, but it was segregated. And down on the South End we had mainly African American and Hispanic families growing up. And you know, it was growing up, I didn't know any different growing up here in Pasadena in the early 50s, in mid 50s and in the 60s.
Skip and I go back 70 years. We've been since early on in the early 50s when his family moved out from Mississippi. Skip and I began playing sports competitively in junior high school, where he went to McKinley Junior High School, I went to Washington. We competed never against each other because he ran hurdles and I was a sprinter.
Skip and I met at the Boys Club. We was young kids. That's when I first ran into Skip. And later on, that might have been, we was in elementary school, because he was a year older. And when we got to the junior high, I'd run into him again because we was all delivering newspaper on our bikes. And that's when I ran into Skip again, Russell Cole and his boys, his crew that he ran. That's when I knew about Skip. And he had gone to PHS, I went to Muir. So I was aware of his presence because he had already established Skip Robinson.
Skip would go on to attend Pasadena High School, where he was coached by Tom Hamilton, who produced many standout and professional athletes.
Tom Hamilton was my coach, and he was my mentor. I had a lot of respect for Tom Hamilton. He was a guy that spent a lot of time mentoring student athletes. We had a lot of success at PHS in football, and not only football, basketball, track, and various sports. But Tom was my head football coach for 3 years at Pasadena High School. And like I said, I had a really, really close relationship with Coach Hamilton. I have a lot of respect for that man. I ran track at Pasadena High School. I was a hurdler. And my junior year, I won CIF, what was in the hurdles as a B runner. You know, you had the exponents, you had C, B, and A, or A, B, and C. But, and then my senior year, I ended up running third in CIF in the high hurdles and set a PHS school record in the high hurdles. I was all CIF football, and I had a lot of scholarship offers. I really was focused on going to USC. I wanted to go to USC, but because of some academic problems I was having, I didn't have the grade average to enter USC. So my next option was to go to Pasadena City College, which I did.
Skip, of course, ran the hurdles, Skip Robinson, and played football at the same time, was Mr. Pasadena when he graduated, and we were fortunate to get him and recruit him to Pasadena City College, where his first year. There we went to the Junior Rose Bowl, we're undefeated, and he was first team All-American.
Before we got to our 4-year schools, Skip and I both did a year at PCC, and he played football, actually excelled. He became a star there, and was featured on a national level.
And our agreement was with USC, if he came and played his first year at Pasadena City College, when you get him the grades, that he'd get in USC. But he had scholarships out of high school. So he came along with Willie Campbell. You guys don't remember this. Willie Campbell came also. Willie Campbell went to UCLA, running back out of Muir, and Skip Robinson out of Pasadena High School off that team went to USC.
When I was at USC, we won the national championship in 1967. That was my first year there. We had O.J. Simpson, we had Al Callens, we had Bubba Scott, we had Tony Terry, Jimmy Gunn, Terrell Ray, Wilson Bowie. There were a lot of good athletes. I mean, Earl McCullough. There was just so many. There were, after the '67 season, SC had 5 first-round draft choices. That's how good we were. I was on track to be a good. I was going to be a player at USC and maybe further my career in the pros. However, I suffered a knee injury that kind of threw all of that out, and it just really never recovered from the injury. And so my next option was to continue my education and to graduate. The word got out that I may be available for coaching. So a friend of mine contacted me and said that PCC may be interested in getting an African American coach. So I get a call from Dr. Armin Serafian, who wanted to meet with me. And I knew Dr. Serafian from my days of playing at PCC, and really fine man. He was the president of the college and a lot of support for athletics. So I went to PCC to meet with Dr. Serafian, and he literally offered me a job coaching with the football team, which was kind of unusual that it comes from the president and not the football staff, but it all worked out. And that's when I started my coaching career at Pasadena City College in 1970.
When the opportunity came for us, we hired him back to Pasadena City College.
Skip had become a coach. He started out coaching defensive backs at PCC. They offered him a job from SC after he graduated, and he got his master's at SC. They offered him a job.
Before me, they did have black coaches at PCC. However, I was the first full-time coach instructor to coach at PCC. I stayed on the staff there and coached on 2 national championship football teams. And in 1974, after the season, Dr. Serafian calls me up and offers me the track head coaching job at PCC. So I wasn't real open to that. I was really focused on just coaching football, but when the president of the college offers you something, it's really hard to turn down. So I accepted the the head track job in 1974. I stayed on coaching football up until 1977.
He hired me as a coach, as assistant track coach, and I was the distance guy. He left me alone, just did my thing. He believed in me, and hey, I believed in him, and we were just gonna get the job done.
Being a head track coach, there's a lot of responsibility, and to be honest with you, I really didn't know what I was doing, so to speak, what it all entailed to be a head coach. I had never been a head coach before, with the exception of being the golf coach when I was hired in 1970. I was the head golf coach, but that's not like being in charge of 30, 40 different student athletes.
The first year Skip and I coached together, we inherited what we inherited. And this team from Japan, this women's team came from Japan, beat our boy in the quarter, and that was the last of it. Skip said, never again. This will never happen again. And from that point on, and it must have been, God, 76, 77. From that point on, we went to work.
Skip allowed all of his coaches to do their thing, and that is the sign and the marks of a really good head coach. You know, you have your staff, and I imagine in a lot of their meetings they talked about, you know, how to get from point A to point B. And Skip would allow all his coaches to do their thing. He wouldn't tell them how to train you. He would just tell them what the numbers needed to be.
Yeah, the first year was kind of rough. I was just getting to know how to maneuver the track program, how to put things in place, how to get the student athletes out, how to train, how to just be a head coach. And we did get our butts kicked pretty good that first year. And we made a commitment that we would get better and better every year. And the next year, I had one great athlete. Well, I had some good athletes, but one great athlete in Grant Niederhaus. And he was an intermediate hurdler at Arcadia High School. And he set a national record in the 440 intermediate hurdles.
I won it in 75 in Bakersfield. I think that following year, John Rudd won it, and then the year after that, Elvester Strong won it. So that was a 1, 2, 3 years in a row.
Coached a lot of kids. We had a lot of fun, and we had a lot of days we cried at City College coaching there. The first 2 years, we cried like we was 3 weeks old. We got beat up so bad. I mean, we ride to Bakersfield and get the snot beat out of us in the big meets. So we got together and started recruiting. And Skip and Jesse says, okay, once he's the oddball there, we'll give him the talent school like PHS, Arcadia, San Marino. So I said, haha, I know what you guys are doing, but that's okay. I said, I'm gonna give you some white boys, and they're gonna beat all the brothers. So they laughed. The second year, I had state champion. Third year, I had 3.
I actually went there to run the 110s and the long jump and triple jump. I was thrown in the 400-meter hurdles strictly on Skip coaching. He's coaching for points. And we had a guy named John Rudd who was the best 400-meter hurdler in the nation at that time. And there was a guy at East LA College, I remember vividly, his name Lou McLaughlin. McLaughlin was a 100 and 200 meter man, and he was good. And Skip wanted John to run against him. Skip believed that John could beat him, even though John was a 400 meter hurdler. Skip was gambling, rolling the dice for John to beat McLaughlin in the 200. And then he said, Junior, I need you to run the 400 meter hurdles today. I said, man, I'm not running that far. And he said, Junior, he said, their fastest man probably only could run maybe 59 or 60. And he says, and I know you could probably run somewhere between 55 and 56, he says, on a slow day. And he said, I just need you to run them this one time. And so that was the beginning of me running the 400 meter hurdles. I got in the race and I probably beat that guy by a good 20 yards, and Skip came to me right after that race and said, you know what you're going to be running next year, huh?
The first championship that we had was in 1977. We won the conference championship, which was the Metropolitan Conference, and we won the Southern Cal championship, and we were favored to win the state, but we had some mishaps that cost us the state championship that year.
We had a whole slew of talent that year in 1977 that could probably compete against a lot of Division II and Division III schools and probably win.
But then in 1978, we won the state championship, and 1984, we won the state championship.
He put the little group together, brought in Bill Johnson. Bill Johnson helped him recruit. Pat was a long jump coach. I was a distance coach, so he would assign us, okay, you got to go over here, this meet, pick up these guys, Bill and I will go over there. Then he would shift us around, and we were starting that recruiting.
We spent a lot of time searching where good athletes were, where they were from, and who could fit into our program, and so forth. So we started reaching out to kids from all over the country, and showing them that there's an opportunity to come to California and run at Pasadena City College, and be successful. And that's exactly what we did, and as a result of that, we were successful.
Coach Robinson had sent a guy on a track team named Sal Sedano, and Sam Sawney. Sam Sawney was from Grenada, and Sal, and they picked me up, and I stayed with them for a few days because he was trying to get me situated. And then from there, Coach Robinson found housing. Me and several other guys lived together. In fact, that was kind of interesting because at that apartment, we started off, and then we had guys on the track team. He had guys all over the place. He had Caribbean guys, he had guys from New York, from Brooklyn.
Housing was not easy because we don't have dormitories at Pasadena City College. So we would have to find housing for these out-of-state kids. Not only housing, but they would have to qualify for financial assistance, financial aid. We had to put all of that in place. We would have to have these kids submit their parents' financial records and so forth, and see if they could get financial assistance from the government. But housing, we would have to search and see who would be willing to allow these young student athletes to live in their apartments or live on their property. And we were successful, and it was not an easy thing to do. It took a lot of time and effort, because if you cannot house these young student athletes, you can't bring them from out of the state, or you actually can't bring them from a far distance.
I followed his team, his state championship team, for 2 years at PCC. As a fan, I went all over the state, giving his team support.
Skip Robinson kind of was more like questioning my starting coming out of the blocks. He said, you hear the gun, you gotta go. So Skip says to me, well, why don't you look at the gun, if you see the smoke, take off. So I would hold it up, look at the starter. As soon as I saw smoke, boom, I took off. And from there on there, my time just started improving. Things started to get better. My performance has gotten better. A good coach. He gave me a lot of great tips about when to celebrate, when to run, when to do it, when to break. If I had any kind of issues, when someone got up on the side of me and doing what they're doing, a bumping, a breathing, basically told me how to stay focused and just run it and keep it going, and not let it be more like a psychological thing to slow you up, tension you down. Just stay focused and just run your race. Don't worry about them. I just basically just did what he told me to do, and made me even more and more better and more better.
From a recruiting standpoint, that summer Skip stayed on me, man. I mean, Skip came to my house, and talked about the type of kids that he had recruited and the team that he had put together that year. Man, at the state championships in Sacramento that year, Fabian won the 400. He set the state record in the open 400. He got the long jump champion, Eric Thomas. He got Lou Dunn, who won the 100. I mean, he ended up getting, just littered. Top 3, top 4 finishers in the California State meet were all at PCC.
Michael was a product of the 1984 state championship team. That was probably, maybe, I want to say our best team as far as accomplishments in terms of how well they competed. Other guys competed well, but the times that these guys did were really, 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 really good.
You know, and there's only one Skip Robinson, and that man built the dynasty. There were other coaches in front of him, Mickey Anderson, who was our coaches, Ted Banks, who was another great one, but they couldn't get the job done like Skip Robinson. You know, he really put track really on the map. We were always contenders, but he put Pasadena on the map.
After my coaching track days were over with, I went back to coaching golf, and which was not as intense. You know, you only have like maybe 10 athletes, and you play at Brookside Golf Course, which was you know, it's a little kickback, but it was fun. It's still competitive. We won a championship in golf as well in 1995.
After that, he became an administrator.
We had a former athletic director and department chairman, they called it at the time, and he was leaving, and the division said, well, what about Skip? Why don't we elect him to be our new boss? And it was like, hey, hey guys, I'm not sure I want to do that, you know. And they said, no, you're the only guy that can kind of keep us together, bring us together, and so forth. So I started thinking about it. I said, it's a challenge, but like I've faced other challenges. So I said, yeah, okay, I'll do it. And being a local guy, I had connections in the community. I had connections with a lot of people that have been alumni from Pasadena City College. So, you know, I said, okay, it's a challenge, but it's one that I'll accept. It's just like coaching. I'll accept the challenge, and we'll see where it goes from there.
And then ultimately becoming the dean of the department. So it was a meteoric rise, and well deserved.
Not only the athletic director, but I was also the dean of the kinesiology, health, and athletics. That's what it's called. So I had to set schedules, academic schedules for the teachers and so forth. And it was just more than just athletics. It was overseeing the whole division of instruction and so forth. It was a $30 million facility that we built down there. And one of the things that I had this idea of having a tutorial center for our student athletes. And I was able to get it through talking to the president of the college and our dean of student services. We had built a locker room that was of no use, and I said, why don't we convert this locker room into a tutorial center? And we did, and we wrote grants to get computers and so forth. We were able to hire one full-time counselor and a part-time counselor that dealt only with our student athletes. It's called the Zone. That's what we named it. It's the Zone. And it still exists to this day, but that was one of the ways that we were able to keep track of our student athletes' academics and how they were doing, and to put them on pace to be able to leave PCC after their competition days of competing were over. In 1988, I was approached by a good friend of mine, coaching friend of mine, about the opportunity to travel to South Africa. And I thought, yeah, hey, great. He says, no, it's more than that. There's a lot of politics involved and so forth. And we're talking about traveling with maybe 10, 12 American Olympians after the games in Seoul, Korea in 1988. And I said, yeah, okay, that's fine. So we talked to a lot of athletes in Indianapolis, say, hey, are you interested in maybe going to South Africa and competing? Now, South Africa had not competed in the Olympic Games, I think, since 1964 because of their laws of apartheid. They were banned. You know, they were the outcasts. No one wanted to deal with them, or they were not received or welcomed in the international world of track and field competition. So we approached some really good athletes, guys that held American records. Said, hey, you guys, after the games, you guys want to do this? And there was a number of them that signed up and said, yeah.
I go to another meet at SC, and while I'm there, a couple people approach me and they say, hey man, the head coach has been asking around about you. I said, what do you mean? He said he'd been asking questions about you. And I said, I gave him my information. He could have just called me. Well, anyway, needless to say, after working with him for the next 17 years, so they ended up taking the job there, I found out that he's the type of person that really trusts a lot of people. And the fact that we hadn't worked together before, people that he was calling was Skip Robinson, Larry Knuth. So you see where to find out, hey, who's this Mike Pullins guy? Can I work with him? Can I trust him? And so I end up going into coaching, and so you look again at the impact that these coaches, Skip Robinsons of the world, the Walter Opps of the world had on my life. I mean, it's the stories can go on forever.
You just want to always feel that you had some influence on these young men, that after they compete for you, that they go on and try to follow their careers into coaching or whatever else that they want to pursue. Mike was a heck of a competitor for me, and being a local guy out of John Muir High School made it just that much, more rewarding. But it makes you feel good that these guys think that much of you, and it always helps to be successful.
Skip and I always kind of bicker, but it's a humorous bicker. We've never once had an argument. 70 years and never had a serious argument about anything. So that tells you that we kind of bonded, and we know each other's, what they're thinking, how we're feeling. If one of us is down, depressed, or something, they can identify it and you can offer support. And he's done that more so with me than I've done with him. He's always been, I always tell him that he's kind of like a super Negro, and that he's kind of doesn't have any, what should I say, I guess any clinks in his armor. He's always been able to guard against any controversy, I should say.
He's my son. What are you talking about? He kids everybody. He's my son. I mean, Skip and I are very close, like Myron was very close with him. When I was gone, Myron was closer, spent more time with him and Dennis Gossard. And, but I'd have lunch with him. I go to events with him. I invited the parties for me, and I'm having. And we've just stayed together for years. In fact, I'm supposed to call him right after this interview.
I always had this love for athletics. And it started at the boys club back when I was a young kid with Charlie Bradford. He was my first sports mentor. And he would always inspire us to be great athletes, great students, great people, great everything. just stay on the right track. So coming through that period of time and always competing at elementary school, middle school, high school, so forth. I mean, I played in the what do they call that? It was the middle schools used to play a football circus. Played in that prior to the turkey tussle with Mir and PHS. Then I got to high school, played in the Rose. These were all in the Rose Bowl. Played in the Rose Bowl. Then in high school, played in the Rose Bowl, the Junior Rose Bowl, and junior college or community college at PCC. Played in the Rose Bowl at USC. Came back and coached in the Rose Bowl at Pasadena City College. It was just always something that I was surrounded by athletes and seeing success and seeing kids that didn't make it, but you always wanted to help fuel them to think that they can make it and just always be a positive role model for them. And that's what I've tried to do over these years.
Yeah, started on the field, Western State grind. Junior Rose dreams left them all blind. Lance on the rise, sharp as steel spine. Defense locked down, a human landmine. Came back to the block, whistle in hand. Built champions brick by brick, man to man. Tracks and turf, he rewrote the plan. Dean of the hustle, they don't understand. This ain't just sweat, it's legacy and dirt. Blood on the cleats, pride in the work. Skip Robinson, the name rings loud. From the field to the desk, he leads the crowd. Champion maker, the city's crown. One man's grind turned the whole game around. Down. Gridiron general, X's and O's, shape young minds, watch the future grow. Athletic director, but the streets still know he's the coach of life from end zone to flow. Track star sprinters, they flew like the breeze. Plant seeds of greatness deep in the trees. Books and ball, man, he mastered degrees. A legacy carved in Pasadena leaves.